Well, good morning. My name is Jonathan Neef. I'm the campus pastor at Christ Church Vernon Hills. It's fun to be with you recording these videos. I'm going to be mentioning things that are following some of our sermon series, and these are just personal takeaways that I've had as I've been walking through the book myself, and these will be coming from chapter 3. So please feel free to watch the sermon online or check out our website to get the full story and the full sermon. But one of the things I've wrestled with in studying chapter 3 is, do I fear the right things? Do I fear the right things? And if you're familiar with the story, in chapter 2, Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, builds this giant statue, or has a dream about a giant statue. And then in chapter 3, he goes ahead and builds this giant statue and basically says, hey, everybody, bow down to me or die. And everybody does, because they're afraid of the king, because he has the power over their life. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, it says in verse 16, the king of Babylon says in verse 15, who is the God who will be able to deliver you out of my hands? And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this. If this be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But if not, be it known to you, O king, we do not serve your gods or worship your golden image that you have set up for us. And there's lots of takeaways and the big idea of the sermon. And I'm not going there. There's just the personal application I've had of they weren't afraid of the king. They weren't afraid of the fiery furnace. They weren't afraid of death. They weren't afraid of the peer pressure of everybody else saying, well, hey, everybody else is doing it. Just join in. Don't look like an idiot. Don't look like a dork. They just said, no, we're going to remain true to God. As I've reflected even in my own life, I think I spend a lot of my time fearing people and loving God. And that's actually backwards. I need to fear God and love people. And we need to have a conversation about what fear means and all the rest. But in this moment, I mean a love for and putting a love for God first before I put a love of what people think about me. And as I reflect on my own life, it's often moments that I find myself trying to work for admiration, trying to strive for approval, trying to scramble to make myself look good or appear competent. And it's in these moments that I find I'm often not being careful of how I treat others. And so I just even want to ask you, what are the things that you fear in this life that might prevent you from following God? And maybe it's whether or not there's enough money in retirement and are you working hard enough? Or maybe it's the opinion of your coworkers or classmates, or of mom shame and guilt and from the moms group, or what they say on Instagram or Twitter. I know in my own heart a deep desire to want to look good and appear competent and to accomplish things. And I fear people and I scramble and try and get it done. And as a result of that, I'm not following God. What we saw in today's story our goal is not to be just like them. Again, we watch the sermon for the big idea. But I think one of the takeaways we can have is I need to fear God. I need to love him first. I need to make him the priority. And when that's right, all of the other things fall in place. When my hope is in God, when I love him the most, then I am motivated to have faithful living. And so that's my challenge in my own heart today. Am I fearing the right things? And that's my challenge for you. Do you fear the right things?